as well. Okay, so at this point, I would like to invite Craig String, Associate Director of the Lawrence Hall of Science at the University of California, Berkeley, and co-conspirator with Kevin on the Beatles project, to tell us a bit more about Kevin's contributions to the field before passing the proverbial microphone to the man of the hour.
Thanks so much, Kat. And Estrella, and thank you to AEOE for the opportunity to honor Kevin. I am going to try and share my screen so that you can be looking and watching Kevin and not me while I'm giving this presentation. Okay, can everybody see my screen? Okay. If you want to make it full screen now so you get the full effect of Kevin, you can go to your full screen view, and I'm going to start right in playing a slideshow as I talk. My friend and colleague Kevin Beals is a study in contrasts and contradictions, an enigmatic superstar of science and environmental education. Those of you who know Kevin, wait, doesn't everyone know Kevin? I mean, doesn't Kevin know everyone? Anyway, those of you who know Kevin have heard his endless encouragement to be a guide on the side rather than a sage on the stage or an entertainer. He is truly the most gifted nature learning guide I've ever observed. He has a gentle and assuming manner. He speaks softly. He guides so well from the side that he sometimes falls out of view. Only a trained eye can detect that he's actually teaching. The learners take all the credit for their own discoveries. When I observe Kevin teach, I catch myself nudging the person next to me and saying, "Did you see what he did there?" In the log from the Sea of Cortez, John Steinbeck describes one of my other heroes, Ed Ricketts, like this. Everyone near Ed was influenced by him deeply and permanently. Children on the beach, he taught to look for and find beautiful animals in worlds they had not suspected were there at all. He taught everyone without seeming to. Someone should have written that about Kevin. Now, here's the contradiction. Kevin is also a superior sage on the stage and a master entertainer. He can command a professional development room with his pinky finger, and on a real stage, well, he's a bungee jumping cow. How can a rock star stomping out the Gusano song also be a guide on the side? You've probably also heard Kevin talk about engaging students directly with nature rather than trying to engage them with games. Kevin is well known for having his groups lost in discovery huddled around a bit of lichen or fertilizer holes in the grass on a playing field. Here's the contradiction. He's also the master of games playing and party designing. He switch hits on all of his own best advice. He's even good at the things that he says you're not supposed to do. There are more contradictions. The same guy who dresses up like a pirate and fights with a sword while he sings to hundreds of people about carbon dioxide is sheepish and shy when he's off duty. The same guy who does improv in the middle of his performances and has so many spontaneous ideas we can't write them down as fast as he generates them. That guy is often so uncomfortable in meetings that he only speaks up to ask people to please slow down a little so he can process the discussion. Somehow, Kevin keeps all these contradictions in some sort of cosmic balance. Just enough confidence with just the right amount of insecurity, just enough conviction with just the right amount of humility, just enough willingness to change his mind with just the right amount of stubbornness. I've known Kevin since we were in college together at UC Santa Cruz in the early 1980s. We both had longer hair. When I first met him, Kevin was student teaching. Now, get this, he was teaching at Santa Cruz Garden School and was assigned to the class of Ms. Greenapple. He was teaching with Ms. Greenapple at Santa Cruz Garden School. It was like a cartoon that ended up foreshadowing his life as an environmental educator. Most of you know Kevin Beals as an environmental educator who taught for 7 years at Caritas Creek and then left and returned to the field almost 20 years later to create the Beetles project that has made a considerable contribution to the field. Most of you know about Beetles, so I won't say very much about it, except that it was Kevin's idea. He's the original Beetle. We think he should change his name to Kevin Beetles. I want to spend a little more time telling you about the part of Kevin's career that you might not know as much about, the part that filled up those almost 20 years at Lawrence Hall of Science between stints as a full-time environmental educator. His accomplishments are stunning. Kevin started off developing 22 different school workshops, festivals, and assemblies, summer camps, and after-school programs that he taught hundreds of times. He quickly got involved with curriculum development with the GEMS program, Great Explorations in Math and Science. He co-designed and co-authored 27 published GEMS units and made contributions to 10 others with names like UBLEC, What Scientists Do, Solids, Liquids, and Gases, Crime Lab Chemistry, Electric Circuits, Living with a Star, Life Through Time, Ocean Currents, Environmental Detectives, Messages from Space, River Cutters, Mystery Festival, the Ocean Sciences Sequence, the Space Science Sequence, just to name a few. Kevin was the most creative and most prolific curriculum developer for the most successful and most widely used supplemental science curriculum program in the United States. Next, he co-authored 2 much longer units, Weather and Water and Aquatic Ecosystems, for the Seeds of Science Roots of Reading program, and another guide for NASA about the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. As a small side project, Kevin led the development of 11 Science at Home kits published by Scientific Explorer. Soda Pop Science won the Oppenheim Toy Portfolio Platinum Award and Family Fun Magazine's Toy of the Year Award in 2001. 2 other kits won major toy awards in 2002 and 2003. From 2007 to 2010, Kevin wrote or co-authored 16 published children's books with titles like A Visit to a Pond, The Voyage of a Cracker, Drinking Cleopatra's Tears, Gravity is Everywhere, My Sea Otter Report, and What If Rain Boots Were Made of Paper? That project wound down, and from 2009 to 2013, Kevin developed 7 published after-school kids science kits designed for after-school program instructors. And then to accompany those kits, he wrote, edited, and produced a series of 25 how-to videos to help those instructors be more successful with the materials. In his spare time, Kevin applied his creativity to the development of 7 computer games and simulations. He wrote 15 science education comic strips called Mateo y Cientina that were published in Spanish language newspapers around the United States, and then designed 13 workshops for parents and teachers who in turn led Spanish family science nights. Now you might think that Kevin was chained to his computer 24/7 and never left the office in order to be that productive, but he was also out presenting workshops, mostly to teacher leaders. From 1996 to 2014, he led, are you ready for this? 73 3-day-long GEMS Associates and Leaders workshops at Lawrence Hall of Science and all over the country. Kevin launched GEMS sites and centers in, now this is going to sound like a Johnny Cash song, San Antonio, Baton Rouge, Mount Pleasant, Keene, Athens, Atlanta, Modesto, Reading, Tulare, Montgomery, Mobile, Tallahassee, Inyo, Cleveland, Merrillville, Dallas, Marshalltown, Fort Wayne, Denver, Chicago, and Japan, Thailand, the Philippines, Singapore, Argentina, and Uruguay. Are you tired yet just from listening? Kevin also made TV appearances on Univision, The Today Show, Mornings on 2, The Philippine Morning Show, Live with Regis and Kathy Lee, and Bill Nye the Science Guy. There's plenty more. It goes on and on and on. That body of work, which it seems to me is several lifetimes worth of productivity, all came before the Beatles Project. If you go to the BeatlesProject.org and look at the free downloadable resources there, the 12 professional learning sessions, 50 student activities, 16 videos, 25 program leader support materials, 6 instructor support materials, they all, every one of them, are embedded with the fingerprints of Kevin Beals. Anyone who's been to an AEOE conference or a Beatles Leadership Institute knows that Kevin is a passionate and compassionate human being, dedicated to improving the lives of kids and protecting the natural world. You also know that he's insatiably curious about who you are and what you care about. He pays attention, notices details, remembers your face and your name, and he loves you before he meets you just because you're an environmental educator. You also might think, because of his easygoing personality and the way that he teaches us without seeming to, that his accomplishments may have come naturally or even easily. And that's why I wanted to share with you all the sheer volume of his work. That much productivity is not natural or easy. It comes only from determination, stamina, a belief in the possibility of a better world and the drive to make it so, and from a commitment to his quality that's so relentless that it's frustrating to those around him who live in the world of deadlines and deliverables that are good enough for other people's standards. So on behalf of AEOE, the 5th graders in Ms. Greenapple's class, the tens of thousands of other students that Kevin has taught since, the millions of students who have benefited from the curriculum that he's developed, and the thousands of environmental educators using Beatles resources, I want to thank and congratulate Kevin Beals for all of his good work and good deeds for his lifetime achievement.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay, now, thank you so much, Craig. By the way, it said he's Associate Director of Lawrence Hall of Science and co-lead of Beals. That does not capture that magnificent human right there. He's a leader in California and international environmental education efforts. International, he's a big leader internationally in ocean education. He's also a really good human. He works hard to live his values, and he's been a really good friend through thick and thin. Heck, Craig Strang deserves an award. Not this one, though. No one does big things by themselves. Obama said that recently in his 2020 commencement speech. No one does big things by themselves. I sure haven't. I've had the fortune of working on a lot of cool projects with a lot of cool people in a lot of cool places. As an example, I first came up with the Banana Slug song on a loud bus full of kids on the way to the beach in Mendocino, a very cool place. Hey, Joanne, she was there, where I quietly scribbled lyrics on a piece of paper. For the first performance at Campfire that night, I recruited some teenagers to sing backups and do choreographed motions. While practicing, when I sang the chorus, Banana Slug, one of them sang, Nisi, she's still a friend today, no longer a teenager, sang back, banana, na, 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 na. And that helped make that song. That's just a teeny example of collaboration. I could tell you a million examples of collaborations and contributions, and then there are millions that I don't even remember because my life has been so stinking rich with really cool collaborations. I've collaborated with many of those of you who are here right now. Those things that Craig talked about, those are all collaborations. That wasn't me. We've created, you and I, people in this room, we've created things together in different contexts, whether it was curriculum, workshops, books, a song, or a moment. We've created a lot of moments together. We've been in workshops together. We've sung songs together. Some of you who I've never met have helped test Beatles activities. Thank you. You've said things or I've seen you do things that have inspired me or made me think in a different way, though you may not know it. And that has influenced the work that I've been involved in. Thank you so much. This award is yours too. In particular, sorry, I do this. I have feelings. I was feeling really good. I was doing really good. Okay. In particular, I want to call out Caritas Creek, the environmental education program that I wrapped my life around for 7 years, and we're still family to me. I learned so much about how to see and love all kids from them and how to love them well and how to help those kids feel seen. I also want to call out other projects I worked on at Lawrence Hall of Science for years before Beatles. So many smart and kind people who taught me so much about teaching and learning and gave me so many opportunities that I couldn't believe that I had. I want to call out my band, the Bungee Jumping Cows, who taught me so much about music and with whom I got to co-create so many ridiculously rowdy and playful music moments for people. And I want to call out the other members of the Beatles Project, such a bunch of thoughtful, hardworking folks who form a pretty amazing team that has created so much beyond my wildest dreams. I tend to dream pretty big, but in this case, we seem to have exceeded even my dreams. This award is theirs too. In general, I'm not actually into awards. I don't like singling out someone while leaving out others. Everyone present here, I'm sure, deserves an award of some kind. What do you deserve awards for? Among other things, my buddy and environmental educator, Penny, who's here, deserves an award for her capacity for accurate empathy. She's really good at paying attention to humans and other critters and having accurate empathy for where they are really at without projecting herself onto them. That's a superpower. She deserves an award for that. Among other things, my buddy and environmental educator, Mary Lou, deserved an award for knowing how to deeply connect with adolescent girls and how to infiltrate their cliques to resolve conflicts. She deserved so many awards. We all do. And that's just humans. Don't you think lichen deserves an award for interspecies collaboration? We can make these tiny little plaques and hand them out to lichen. Goes on and on. But I feel differently about awards within environmental education. I really like them. I really enjoy watching my peers in this field get awards like this one, whether or not I know them and their work. Those awards usually make me emotional. I loved it and I felt very moved when Celeste got this award last year. It feels to me like a way to celebrate our field in general, as well as the dedication to the field of an individual like Celeste. I don't think our field has ever gotten the recognition it deserves. but I feel like together we shine a little light in the darkness in what seems like a slightly magical way. We're like glowworms in the soil. That moves me, and I like celebrating that. And things have gotten darker lately, making it harder on glowworms. But the world really needs glowworms. But I kind of doubt that any of us are working in this field for awards. What does motivate us in this field? Money? I don't think so. If you feel moved to, type into chat 1 to 2 words to describe what motivates you to work in this field. Kids, somebody says kids. Yes. Wonder and love, children in nature, community, human connection. Oh, now they're going. Sharing love, justice, nurturing, environment, equal access. Damn. I agree with all of them. Those motivate me as well. That's what brings us together, I guess. I know I've also worked in the field for these reasons too. I really like thinking up cool things that don't yet exist, then trying to make them happen with other people. I really like co-creating experiences and resources that I wish I had had when I was a student and when I was a field instructor. I really like collaborating to create more experiences, opportunities, and resources for students and professionals who have had fewer advantages and opportunities than me. I like witnessing children and adults as their minds and hearts are ignited. I really like having my own mind and heart ignited again and again and again. We do really amazing work in this field, and there's clearly much more work we need to do to ensure that everyone has access to the outdoors. And is able to be safe while spending time there. I commit to continuing to do the work of unlearning racism and dismantling systems of white supremacy in this field and everywhere. I look forward to continuing to do that work with you, all of you. There's another reason why I do this work. There's a quote from the movie Up that I really like. I don't know you, but I love you. That's one of the dogs who says that. But I really relate to it. That's how I feel when I'm with environmental educators. I really like people, people spelled with 2 E's for environmental education. But I actually figure with most people, and even with leaves and rocks and critters, that I will care for them if I get to know them. I feel that particularly with environmental educators. I also figure that I have something to learn from anyone I meet, and it's up to me to find out what those treasures are. I've had thousands of conversations with environmental educators, and I've learned and grown from talking to everyone from brand new shiny field instructors to grizzled veterans. I can't get enough of you. The outpouring of love and appreciation that I've gotten from folks after this award was announced has really buoyed me. Thank you so much. It means so much. I'm printing out comments, cutting them into strips, and putting them in a box to read at times when life feels dark. I'll probably cut up this chat too in the same way. Because there's times when life is really dark and it's really hard. And these sorts of things are what helped me get through things. I figure you'll be, it's my own personal glowworm collection. Some friends tell me I'm good at loving people, and I actually work at it. We can and do give each other little awards every day instead of just these big awards. By telling folks something significant that we appreciate about them, by making that into a practice, we can do it for ourselves too. If you feel like it, I invite you to join me in spreading mini verbal awards like this in an ongoing way, supporting our fellow glowworms. Because all humans are kind of glowworms too. Maybe commit to sharing a meaningful appreciation with one person a day, or maybe share meaningful appreciations on everybody's birthday, or just to share them more often whenever you think of it. I look forward to hopefully knowing each of you and getting the chance to appreciate your shiny selves. Thank you so much. Oh, you can see it.
Hey. Thank you, Kevin. We are just so delighted and proud to get to share this moment with you. Really, you can see this love pouring out for through the chat, and I know on Facebook, and just do touch so many lives in so many ways and lifted us all up. I am, speaking of lifting up, I have this marvelous beast that I am a proud owner of. This is the original stump, and we are pleased to be adding Kevin's name to this accomplished list, and committed to lifting all of us up for all of the great work that we're doing. We do have a few friends who wanted to share some closing words as well. We have gone over our official time, but I think, you know, if people need to peace off, just thank you for your contributions today. For folks who can stick around, I want to invite Dean, who is a past Howard Bell Award honoree, to share a story.
Well, kind of hard to follow Kevin, man. We should have just ended it right there, you know? So, 2 weeks ago, I got laid off from my job that I've been doing for 34 years. And I know I'm not alone. And there's a lot of us here and around the nation that have also had to deal with this sort of thing. But for me, I mean, it's been 34 years. 34 years of walking along the trails with kids and poking through tide pools and exploring riparian areas and climbing mountains and sand dunes. It was more than a job. It was a lifestyle. It's who I am. I'm a naturalist who has a gift to being able to relate to children and, you know, get them excited about nature. And there's no way around it. I'm going to miss being able to do that. Shortly after being laid off, I told one of my coworkers that Kelly, who helped organize this virtual event, asked me to close out the virtual conference with a relevant story, or, you know, something positive in the face of all this crap we've been going through the last few months. And my coworker looked at me and he said, well, I think they chose the right guy to do it. And so I hope I can live up to the expectations. In talking with children these last few months, the overwhelming thing that they miss are their friends. They miss being at school with their friends and hanging out with them at home and on the playground. And I get it. You know, I miss being able to hang out with my friends and my family that works at the outdoor science school. I miss that a lot. And, you know, being able to have this sense of community and hanging out in person with our kith is a vital source of psychological strength for all of us. You know, these AEOE conferences I've been going to for decades now, I've always treated them as a kind of renewal. It reminds me of the rendezvous like the fur traders used to conduct back in the mid-1800s, where trappers would come from all over the Rocky Mountains and to some park or some valley, and they'd meet there and they'd trade and share skills and drink and smoke and fight and tell stories and sing and dance, and yeah, kind of like an AEOE conference. And I miss that. I miss being able to play games with Big Brown Bat and hearing a new song from Solar Steve, or, you know, new teaching tricks from Emily or Kevin, and seeing Helen and Reed and Janice and George and getting hugs from Yeti and Sasquatch, you know, or just dancing to good music into the wee hours of the morning. I mean, just having good times with my kith. We naturalists, you know, we might not be wealthy, but I'm going to tell you, y'all are great people and you know how to have a good time. But you know what? We'll be back. We've had our downtimes. Back in 2009, I remember many sites closed down. There were layoffs all throughout the environmental ed community. And during 2009, one of our campuses, they didn't even open until the beginning of January. That was their first week that they had in that school year. And it was noticed in December that one of our snakes, Remy, our ball python, had escaped. And we've had snakes escape before, and sometimes we find them, you know, okay, and other times we find them as skeletal remains under a trailer, or, you know, dried up behind a box. And that cold winter we were experiencing that year did not bode well for Remy the ball python. But that first week in January, we had kids, and it was frosty every morning. And on one of the mornings, Ed went behind the learning center and he was checking out the heating AC unit, and there was dripping water into a puddle on the ground. And there in the puddle, surrounded by this frost-covered grass, was the dull, skinny, lifeless body of Remy the ball python. And so it was sad. He just picked up this limp form and he carried it into the learning center and set it in a box with some paper and for the heck of it, he put a hot rock in there, and then he left and kind of forgot about it. And then about an hour and a half later, somebody came back to him and found out. He goes, "Ed, the snake's breathing." And so we went in there, sure enough, the damn thing was still alive. And with care, they nurtured him, and slowly he came back to health, and he's still around today. He's a favorite of the kids to be able to hold. So yeah, we might be down now, but you know what? Parents want their kids out of the house. And kids want to get out of the house. They yearn to explore nature, and that's not going to change. And we're going to be there for them, and we'll come back just like Remy did, and we'll be there for those kids. I had a coworker tell me, she said, "I work with other people. The only people I work for are the children." And I just want to finish it with something that Rachel Carson once wrote. She said, "A child's world is fresh and new and beautiful, full of wonder and excitement. And if I had influence with the good fairy who is supposed to preside over the christening of all children, I should ask that her gift to each child in the world would be a sense of wonder, so indestructible that it would last throughout life as an unfailing antidote against boredom and the disenchantments of later years. Those who dwell as scientists or laymen among the beauties and the mysteries of the earth are never alone or weary of life. Whatever concerns their personal lives, their thoughts can find paths that lead to inner contentment and renewed excitement in living. Those who contemplate the beauty of the earth find reserves of strength that will endure as long as life lasts. There is symbolic as well as actual beauty in the migration of the birds, the ebb and the flow of the tides, the folded bud ready for spring. There's something infinitely healing in the repeated refrains of nature, the assurance that dawn comes after night and spring after winter. We naturalists, we're lucky. It may not seem like it now, but we have been christened with the gift from that fairy." We'll see you all on the other side. Thank you.
We have one final contributor to our beautiful day together, and I'd like to invite Emily to join us. Emily Lygren is a distinguished beetle, an author, and a poet.
Thanks, Estrella. Estrella asked me to share a poem, and I'd like to write a poem with all of you. I know that we all hold hope of getting outdoors again with kids, and I want you to think, I think of what we do as magic in some ways, as finding magic. And so please write into the chat, fill in the blank for this sentence. We make magic with. Could be making magic with the leaves, making magic with watering cans on hot days. We make magic with connection in between students and places in nature. We can make magic with discoveries and hope, collaboration, wonder, eye contact off of screens. We observe hidden poke bugs, hugs, and interconnection, our enthusiasm and love in our hearts, our minds and creativity. We make magic with oak leaves and empathy, with each other, with teams, with natural processes and peace and rivers, young lives and bugs and attention, marvel and curiosity. We make magic with all of these things, with each other, with rippling water. We make magic with the mud under our toes when we get to walk barefoot. We get to make magic with this group and this community. And I look forward to the days when we get to make magic together again.
What a high note to end on. Friends, family, I don't know if you have a glass to raise with you or just some glowworm fingers, but let's raise a glass to Kevin, to each other, to the students we all want to be with again, and to the beautiful world that we will continue to create together. Here's to glowworms. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you to the AEOE team for putting this all together. This was a really outstanding day.
Take care, everybody.
You're the best, Kevin.
Very nice to meet you all. Thank you, AEOE. Thank you, everybody. Looking forward to meeting you all next year in person at an AEOE conference.
Hey, Mel. The co-author of Gusano is right there, Mel McMurrin.
Thank you guys so much for this. It really was just incredible. And I failed to register and I crashed today, and I'm so glad that I got to crash and not get kicked out. And I also wanted to share, Kevin, I remember the first time we met, it was in a professional learning, 5-day intensive with Beatles. And, it was a long drive and we got up there and I was just sort of looking around and where are we? And you were very friendly and open and hi, and I had no idea who you were. And I was like, who the hell are you? And I never forget that. But then, at the end of the 5 days, I knew exactly who all of you guys were, and just so incredibly grateful for all that you've done and the way that you've transformed us and what you've given to us. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Amber.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Kevin, I don't know if you remember me. You might know my face. I have been watching you since the 90s, and I was the historian for AEOE for 13 years. And, I remember all those crazy conferences where you guys would come and play with the bungee jumping cows, and we'd be up all night just dancing and singing. And you were just such a huge influence on me and so many people. And I wrote it in the notes, but, when I was the historian for AEOE, I just want to say it was always my honor to honor the people who make such a difference in this field. And you are definitely just someone who stands out after all these years, just amazing, all the accomplishments that you've made. And I'm a huge bungee jumping cows fan. I still put that record on every now and then. Record. I guess it's a CD. I just dated myself. Yeah.
Well, we have big concert footage we're going to release pretty soon.
Oh, great. Anyway, congratulations. Thank you, AEOE.
Do you recognize Mel in the box there from the bungee jumping cows, with the guy with the amazing voice who sings in the basement and in the clouds?
Where is Mel?
He's wearing glasses. He's waving.
Oh, Mel. Hi, Mel.
Hello.
Yes. Oh, yes. Good to see you.
Oh, those were always great fun.
Yeah, I know. And Maggie's here too. Maggie was on the board for many years.
Yeah.
So.
Well, amazing thing about you, Kevin, is we all have only seen like one facet of you. And then we hear about all the, you know, the other facets, because I know the musical facet, and I think I was first impressed with the Mystery Festival. I think I knew you virtually just from doing the Mystery Festival and being amazed. And you know, we got to taste a little bit of that environmental ed, since that was an earlier part of your life when I knew you. So I'm always amazed at how many lives you've lived.
Let's hope we have many more to live.
Yes.
Thanks so much, Mel. I love you so much, and you've been such a great buddy and partner, and learned so much from you.
Yeah, well, I learned how to collaborate with you. You both lifted me up and gave me something to push against. So really appreciate that. You know, it's been fun, you know.
Craig is laughing a little too hard. I think
he nailed it. Mel
Yeah.
nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's perfect, because I didn't really know how to both know when to shut up and say, oh, this is good enough. Just, that's good enough. That's one of the things you taught me. It's like, because I remember we improvised 5 songs and you go, well, let's just pick one. They're all good. And you let me cut your 23 verse songs down to 5.
I was
So
influenced by folk music at the beginning, lots of verses.
So it's really good to work both ways, to learn how to edit and be edited. And you can't do that with most people without getting complicated. So it's really.
Well, you are one of the most talented people I've ever seen, famous or not. And your humility along with that is, what? How can this guy be so humble and so ridiculously talented?
Well, you brought out certain parts of my talent that weren't there before, so appreciate that. Yeah. Well, even the songs, I remember never getting to sing as high or as low, because of what because the context and the story demanded it. So
yeah, sing like Robert Plant.
yeah.
Well,
did you dress like a plant when you were singing like Robert Plant?
No, that was a song about plate tectonics and earthquakes, which called for heavy screeching metal. Well, let's make more music, Mel.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming, Maggie. And Camille, thanks so much for being here. Love you so much. Love your support.
Well, Kev, you've been inspiring since I was a kid, so it's cool to be here. It's beyond cool. It's the best.
Interesting to have little kids at our concerts now playing music much better than we ever did.
No way.
Mr. A, is there a chance I can get a copy of this chat? I was too flustered to be able to read much.
Yeah, too.
Cool. Thanks so much, Astray. You did such an amazing job, you and your team. What a great day.
It's been quite a pleasure.
And the presentations recorded?
Some of them were, yeah, as many as we were able to remember to record. I know that there were some that there was some sensitive or proprietary information, because we did bring in kind of presenters as well.
Okay, but 4 o'clock on, because I came in late.
Yeah, I
Okay,
hit
great.
the record button after Kat started talking. So you'll miss my inspirational words, but all good. You get the good stuff. Yes, it was recorded, and we'll add it to the learning library as well.
Thank you, Straya.
Yeah, thank you all for being here today, for supporting AEOE over the years. We've got really, really strong support to keep building on, and just wonderful momentum. So
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
took AEOE and really expanded the horizons of AEOE. This forced to be online, it really changed things in some really good ways. In some
Yeah,
cases.
yeah, there's a lot I really missed today, and a lot that was gained. You know,
I think
so.
Estrella was expanding AEOE's horizons before the COVID-19 struck. It's been a pretty amazing year and a half or so. How long? Like 2 years?
Yeah, year and a half.
2 years? Year and a half, 2 years. Yeah.
Yep. Half time. So I always go like, man, it's only been, you know.
Right. Well, it's really impressive. Really,
I've been trying to
really
get
great.
Craig to come to AEOE for years, but he's always so busy online.
I was going to AEOE before you were born. Come on.
Just not in recent years since Beatles. Never been as a Beatle before.
I know, that's true.
Well, there's plenty of time yet for that to come.
Yeah, you were there with Kyle at SciCon when we did a bungee jumping cow show.
Yeah.
I recall.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, folks, my eyeballs are about ready to fall out from the screen today.
Headed into my weekend.
I need to go sit under a tree.
Thanks so much, y'all. Love you,
All right,
Craig.
you take
Thanks
care.
so much.
All right.
Out of the park.
All right, well, easy.